Actually, my one big thing this week, the upcoming second annual Private Sector Forum, the annual flagship event from the Public Investment Fund, PIF of Saudi Arabia, which is set to kick off here in Riyadh on February 6th to 7th. The event will take place at the King Abdul Aziz International Conference Center, which is adjacent to the massive Ritz Carlton in Riyadh. With the aim to support the fund's private sector engagement strategic initiative, the forum will showcase the PIF and its portfolio companies, business opportunities, signal potential opportunities for investors, suppliers, and create probably one of the best networking platforms in Saudi Arabia this year. I am told that the event will effectively double in size this year. And despite that, it's still probably the hottest ticket in town, more than Messi versus Ronaldo. Apples and oranges comparison there, but you kind of get my drift. Everyone wants to go to this thing. I am told that registration interest is unsurprisingly quite high, given the lineup of planned high-level speakers from the government, private sector. And there's sort of a buzz this year being generated as a result of the success of last year's event. And coming back to that in a moment, there's kind of a lot of detail about it this year that I've sort of gathered both from the website and speaking with some people who know about it. It will have some continued themes and elements from what happened last year at the inaugural event, but as one might expect with anything related to the PIF, is set to build on that in pretty much every way possible. So I want to go through that and what I know about the event. Some new information here, not exclusive information, just new, that I'm sort of learning in the moment because this thing's coming up in a few weeks. First, as I hinted at earlier, this event is going to double in size, which is kind of hard to wrap your head around because the first one was at the Kingdom Center, was massive, but there were 4,000 attendees there last year, 8,000 expected this year. The physical size of the event will double. It is moving from the Four Seasons at the Kingdom Center in downtown Riyadh to the Ritz Carlton or the King Abdulaziz International Conference Center. It's an event space that hosts some of the largest conferences in Riyadh. I can personally say it is one of the most amazing buildings inside and out I've ever seen in my life. Truly an architectural marvel. It's where they hold the FII, also known as the Davos in the Desert. It will double in the number of PIF portfolio company booths, going from 40 booths in the exhibition area to 80 booths. And that is significant, one, I think, because it's a lot of booths. It's going to be a huge kind of like trade show with a lot of access to these PIF portfolio companies, but it also indicates the kind of the number of investments PIF has made and the growing size of its portfolio companies. So kind of interesting there. And it will more than double the number of active workshops at the event, from 8 last year to 20 this year. Last year's objective was sort of to have a first event for the PIF, showcase Vision 2030, private sector engagement, some success stories. I think this year is sort of meant to make a bigger deal out of it, a ministerial perspective, more success stories, some that originated from last year's event. There will be a roundtable conversations, moderated panels. Some remember that I did that last year, which was super cool. Just really cool conversations with Gautam Sachital from CAFT, Jerry Anzarello from Daria. Just really fun and super cool. Yeah, they will be rolling out new local content awards to recognize key private sector suppliers. They're just sort of like, hey, we did this last year and it was successful. Let's just make it way bigger and more successful, I think, is the attitude that I can kind of garner. Interesting thing that I can share about the event as well is that there is a lot more international interest this year. Last year was mostly local companies and local attendees. This year is at least 10% international interest. And again, that's up from virtually zero last year. The PIF is also seeing interest from international companies that are aiming to localize in the kingdom and will be coming for this event to sort of make plans on that. There will have some announcements. I think this is what the website says, some partnership announcements, MOUs announced. So I think we'll learn a little bit more and more as we get much closer to the event. But for the attendees that are going, you'll kind of have some access to, it's like the PIF like opens up their jacket or briefcase of offerings and kind of lets you in to see all the things that they're doing and all the diversified sectors that they're exploring and have a footprint in. So one big massive exhibition hall like the FII has access to people from each PIF company. So yeah, just a really cool event, really kind of one of the biggest shows in Saudi Arabia throughout the year. And that's kind of saying a lot because there are a lot of conferences, trade shows, but the PIF really has expanded significantly in the last year, expanded since it was started, or really rejuvenated since the launch of Vision 2030, certainly since 1970 or whenever it was officially incorporated. And I think this is going to put that on display. So it's something to kind of watch. It's very exciting, and should be a pretty exciting show going on over there at the Ritz. So pretty cool.
I bet it'd be exciting. It sounds like it's have a lot of energy. Do you have your ticket?
I do have my ticket. I will be there. I will be the most junior person in attendance, probably. So say hi if you're there.
Um, it is fascinating. PIF is sort of at the core and the center of so much going on there. It used to be this kind of energy, and not that it doesn't still obtain, but everybody trying to find out how to contract and do business with Aramco. So when Aramco would have these big gatherings, and all sorts of prospective businesses and subcontractors and that sort of thing would be there. And obviously that PIF is a whole nother, in essence, power center. I think it's fascinating because we talk all the time on the 966 about the number of things that the PIF is involved with, what they've launched, what they've invested in, where they have equity, what they're spearheading. And it's impossible to keep up, much less it's just extraordinary, got to be extraordinarily challenging to manage it all. But it sounds like this event is very much sort of going, it is intended, and it says it, it's sort of as a bridge between the PIF and its portfolio companies. So you can come in, like you say, those have all, grown, the portfolio companies, what they're involved with is, the number is significantly larger than it was last year. Come here, figure out how to plug in, who's doing what, a lot of the key featured speakers, you mentioned Gautam Sasyatal, but, CAFT, Modern, STC, Aqua Power, they'll all have, speakers, but also you can come and figure out how to plug in to these portfolio companies. So it's a great opportunity. And if, back in the day, it was all, how do you plug into Aramco? Still is to a certain sector. Nowadays, if you want to plug into the private sector and what's going on in Saudi Arabia, you need to be here and dealing with PIF.
Really fascinating, because the PIF has this dual mandate where they invest for return, and they invest to simulate the local economy and to generate local content, and to diversify the economy. I mean, just put it straightforward. I mean, they are investing to become richer, and then they also want the kingdom to become richer and more of a self-sustaining economy. For the PIF, they seem to be doing a pretty good job at that. And it's still early, but without this tool, without using investment as a way to jumpstart the local economy, it's really hard to see how Saudi Arabia could accomplish that. Look, these guys are really trying something that has never been done before in history, which is invest their way into diversification with a quasi-public private investment arm that is making money and also stimulating entire new sectors that should have existed before oil, but just didn't because there was really no need. So anyway, pretty cool show. I imagine it'll be quite well done. just to say it as it is. I think it's going to be sweet to see. And I really hope that I can get a cup of Saudi coffee company Saudi coffee, because I'm now completely addicted to Saudi coffee. It's like full stop. I might even phase out black coffee, just go all Saudi coffee. So anyway, pretty cool stuff.